channel. Hey, you know what time it is, No Press fam? The beatdown. Welcome everyone to another episode of The Beatdown, the segment and channel where two worlds collide. I am your host, Class. And as always, guys, if you guys enjoy our content, you know what you guys can do. You can share, you can like, or you can subscribe to our channel. When you guys subscribe to our channel, you know what you do. You guys are building our empire and allowing us to provide you guys with even much more greater content for you guys to enjoy. All right, and this episode is, in honor of the new season 2 of Jack Reacher coming out on Amazon Prime. I'm really looking forward to it because I really did actually enjoy the show as much as I enjoyed the movie. Tom Cruise did okay, but this guy did it better. Anyways, besides the point, I'm going to be talking about this particular character today and another character. So let's start off with representing Amazon Prime's character original series, Reacher. Alright, so here's a brief origin story of Jack Reacher. Jack came to a small town because of a famous blues musician who had passed and he wanted to pay his respects. Coincidentally, he shows up just around the same time bodies begin to drop, and local police takes him based on that alone. He explains his reasons for being there, but law enforcement doesn't believe him completely. The head of the station begins to notice this man appears more than he looks. As the man begins explaining details officers missed during their investigation. The head honcho then realizes he wasn't the guy, but keeps him close to be certain and also asks him to help in figuring out who did do this. That man's name was Jack Reacher, who at first wanted nothing to do with the case, but then later on begins to unravel the bigger story behind these murders, and once he discovers one of the victims was his brother, he takes the whole operation down with a few local police to help with the job along with an old friend from the army. It turns out Reacher was a decorated war veteran and was the best at bringing people to justice. Alright, now let's get into the bath, shall we? Now obviously these characters do not have powers, but their feats themselves should say a lot about these characters. Okay, let's start off. Alright, so here's his background. And this is from the quote from the Amazon series. West Point graduate, Silver Star, Defense Superior Service Medal, Legion of Merit, Soldier's Medal, Army Commendation Medal, Bronze Star, a second Silver Medal, and a Purple Heart for wounds sustained in a bombing of a Marines barrack in Kandahar. Hopefully I said that right. Kandahar? Hopefully I said that right. Major Reacher, that was his title, that's right, ran into the Inferno carrying soldiers out 2 at a time. Witness reports 6 separate trips confirming 12 were saved. Major Reacher suffered severe smoke inhalation but returned to active duty 32 hours later despite having shrapnel remains of a jawbone removed from his abdomen. MP numbers, over 150 closed cases, all successful prosecutions, more than 20 fugitives captured. Quote from the show itself on Amazon series 2022. Now here are some of the feats, and some of these names of titles of areas is just based on what I describe it. Okay, able to speak different languages, single-handedly took down 5 guys in the shower in prison, was able to tell the captain of a small town all about himself based on the few interactions they had, was able to tell allergic reactions to a latex glove just by examining a hand, knowing his brother was the second victim. Outside a motel parking lot, 4 drunk guys threatened him and he broke 3 of those guys' arms and left one of them so he could drive them to the hospital. Backwards bar, he gets double crossed by a guy who delivers Reacher to 2 armed men trying to force him into the trunk. He immediately knows they aren't going to fire based on certain details, and while the both are armed guys using fists and the trunk door and a small knife to stop them. He took a few stab cuts. He was even able to tell they were ex-South American military based on the way they spoke, fighting style, technique, and guns they were using. Barr asking about Spivey. Golden Glove boxer steps up to him and he gets his nose broken into immediately. Off-roading. Drove off the road to use his car as bait, having bad guys follow him behind with their own car. Once they got out to look inside, they discovered he wasn't there, and from behind he shot them both dead. To observe his brother's car, he managed to discover how the fire started, and used ketchup and salt to rub smoke residue to see clear of the serial number. Able to shut down entire security cameras with one fuse box attached to the camera. Car chased by foot. He manages to find a small narrow alley that the car couldn't enter and got rammed. And while the person tried to get out of the vehicle, one of them got gunned down by the man himself, Reacher. The other, he jumped into the air to surprise and disarmed him. Went hand to hand with him. Now he lost the upper hand when the guy got his gun back, but luckily his partner, the small town female officer, was there to put one in the back of his skull, the villain's skull, or the guy who was going against Reacher. Innocent dog. Reacher had enough once he saw a dog collar bleeding on an innocent dog, and the owner came out to confront him. He just gave him one mean punch and he fell flat on his rear. Cafe diner. Reacher confronted three men, and one is a spoiled rich kid who was taunting his girl. Reacher gives him a huge smack in the face, lifts the cloth from the table, and proceeds to work on the other two sitting with him. The fight almost turns into a blade fight until someone stops it. Sneaking into truck. He observed the man who was driving the cargo and how long it would take for him to doze off into the motel, and the front clerk to notice, and for the front clerk, he notices couldn't see behind the desk and too tired to be able to notice anyone sneaking into a truck. He even knew what the truck was designed in material and its purpose. Back alley brawl. Fought a former ex-military Venezuelan as he had a knife, disarmed and took him out using his tie and his weight. Took a blade cut wound in the process. Finley's home. Set a trap, had them enter the home thinking he was there when really he was outside taking them out one by one and getting first the driver. The driver pulled out the car window, choked him, gave him a mean punch swing, and then stomped on his neck to end him. The other guys in the house. One he lured outside using the car's headlights, took him out with a blade to the throat. Third guy he snuck from behind, and while the guy had a gun and got stabbed with a knife in the chest while his mouth was covered to avoid being seen. Fourth guy he stabbed multiple times from behind and then used his body as a shield towards the fifth guy's bullets. Fifth guy fought off while the guy had a crossbow and attempted to drown him until Reacher got his gun from the bottom of the pool while trying to be choked to death. Finley's alone. Finley was about to get taken out by three men, so while Reacher was on the phone, Reacher asked Finley to give him certain details about the room and the situation, and he managed to help him escape by talking him through step by step on how to do it, making him his own wall and sneaking through another guest's window, tracking someone. He used the little he remembered about Hubble from their very few conversations, along with knowing where his personal loved ones are and the man's familiarity to certain parts to pinpoint an exact location to search around just by using his brain, a map, and coloring crayons. Flat tire. While he was having a gun pointed at him the whole time, he devised a plan to get the upper hand by pretending to spill coffee at a diner by accident, and when his gunner wasn't looking, he slipped under his sleeve a fork. He used that fork to punch a hole into the tire to create a flat on their drive to their location, which happened to be his unmarked grave. He's pretending to change the tire flat when he pops a gun out of the trunk to surprise the gunner, Picard. They wind up in a standoff, with Reacher getting him to believe he'll do the right thing when it was just a psych, so he could get him that last shot. He can get the last shot in at Picard. Police station. Getting Finley from police custody from a crooked cop. He sent a text to the officer to duck and cover, and was met with a truck rammed into him and himself stuck with bar walls and in front of a hood. Blueprint sketch. Just drawing a sketch of a place layout, he knew where they would keep hostages and such bases of criminals' tactics. The girls, 4 women being used as hostages. With the help of 3 other people, he managed to backknife 1 guard. Using gas to burn one side of the building, holding money to create a diversion for him and his team to enter the warehouse. With a gun, he took out 5 guys. His brother's killer, he fought while the guy had an axe and managed to throw him into some boxes to set him on fire. Crushed the phone with his bare hands. Alright, let's talk about the endgame, how Reacher would defeat Tyler. So let's start off with one thing. Long game wise, if this was a long run and they were chasing each other, there's a likely chance Reacher's going to beat Tyler. Reacher is just way more clever when it comes to tactics. I mean, he's come up with strategies and ideas to get his opponents, and he's very observant. So he's going to learn what he can about Tyler before he sets up that trap and before he can get him out of the way. Another thing is to consider is that Reacher is obviously a lot more massively bigger than Tyler. Now Tyler might be skillful and might be fast, but Reacher again is just way bigger, and he's taken a lot of stuff in the process. Now taking a jawbone out of an abdomen shows that he's really tough. It wouldn't be easy to just take him down. If you recall, Reacher went back 6 trips, saved 12 people, and in the process also took a lot of damage in that, and still went on 32 hours later to go fight again for his country. So you gotta give it to Reacher. Reacher is tough as nails. Muscle wise, wouldn't be easy to just put him down in any kind of sense, and long run rise, he's more strategic that way. And as far as endurance wise, you can clearly see that he can take a lot of punishment, and on top of that continue himself in that fight. Another thing to consider is that Reacher is all about creating diversions. He would find a way on his own to create a diversion to keep Tyler from being able to spot him before he sees him coming. He could sneak behind, he could attack him, he could surprise him. Tyler is clever and also great with reaction, but a diversion being created at that moment while Reacher is coming for that, timing it just perfectly would be the end of Tyler. Now, if Tyler gets caught up in Reacher's arms, it's over. Reacher is able to crush a phone with his bare hands. Of course, he's going to be able to crush Tyler and break his bones and make him into powder if he wanted to. And a straight up brawl between the two in a gunfight. Reacher and Tyler are both equally the same when it comes to a gunfight, but fighting wise, of course, Tyler's impressively skillful, but again, Reacher is also skillful. He was a major, for crying out loud. He could fight along with being able to use the muscle to back it up. So eventually, yes, Tyler is impressively skilled, but Reacher being a tad bit stronger, a tad bit taller, I believe, I don't know if that is accurate, maybe they're the same height, but I do believe Reacher in the real sense is taller. So if he can throw down with him and he's strong, has the same level of skills, and on top of that both know what they're doing, I do believe at some point Reacher might be able to overpower Tyler at the end of this fight and either choke him out or stab him with his own blade or get the gun. But at the end, if it's a short fight, if it's a quick sudden fight, Reacher has the overpowerment. And if it's a long uphill fight, Reacher again has the strategy to go into favoring him when it comes to setting traps and being able to get that sneak diversion attack and then win this one. Alright, on this end, I'll be representing from Extraction, Tyler Rake. Alright, so let's get into the brief origin story of Tyler Rake. Tyler was one of the best in the military field, and one day he finds out his 6-year-old son gets sick from lymphoma, and rather than witnessing his child suffering, he decides to continue with his 3rd active tour in Afghanistan. His wife left him after that, and he decided to take work as a sort of hired gun for anyone who would pay him for the right reasons. On this assignment, he is told to retrieve a kid, and when things go sideways, rather than abandon the child, he decides to redeem his mistakes for missing his child's death by saving this one on what appeared to be the last mission. Alright, now let's get into the bath, shall we? I'm sorry, this is such a long list, but this is the only way I can tell you, from examples, how skillful they are. It's based on their feats. Alright, durability. Markings shown all over his body when he switches shirts at some point indicates he has survived multiple stab wounds, coupled up with his impressive survival throughout the movie shows he's not going to be easy to be put down. Extraction. Here's part from the movies. I'm just explaining based on my description. Dove feet first 30 meters down into a water. He can meditate under it for quite some time. Hostage negotiation. A man pulled a trigger in his forehead to psych him out, and he didn't even blink. He was aware the gun had no magazine in it. With some help, able to choke out a man while a sack was over his head. Went back to retrieve the kid. Shot one man through the door. Gunned down face to face 5 men. Fought off 2 with machetes, using a table and a cup to put them down. 2 he fought off hand to hand, managing to nail one in the face first onto a wall, and the second one he twisted his arm and did a reverse superplex to snap the back of his neck spine. Disarmed another man of his gun and took him down using a leaf raker, and when the man he smashed to the wall came back, he rolled into a broken piece of sharpest end of that leaf raker. Yeah, sorry, that was a tongue twister. Double cross. Managed to get into a car without being taken out by the pro sniper. Maneuvered with a vehicle to escape, and squad of police cars rammed a car with his back bumper. SWAT team. He took out one with a blade, cutting multiple ends of him. Took of 3 of them at the same time, using a gun to finish them off. Shot one when he was coming out from the door. Shot 4 men all at once while dropping one off the roof. Got into a standoff with the trained assassin, falling off the roof and then fighting in the middle of the street while vehicles are moving. He was also an ex-military, the guy who was fighting the assassin. Alright, while vehicles were moving around them in a good old-fashioned blade fight, and finished the fight with him ramming a truck into the assassin. The hit out. He gets chased by kids. He takes 2 out by using a pipe to place between the moving motorcycles and fell off. The others he used to smoke grenade to make it difficult for them to see him coming. Using a van to smash one kid's hand and another to slam a kid across the other side. Punched one in the gut, threw one over his shoulder and placed a pile of motorcycles on his legs. Another one he threw his body onto the van. One had a blade to his face and another a loaded gun, and he still disarmed them and even slapped one like he was getting a beating from his own father. The diversion. He blew up 2 police cars with a grenade launcher and survived a rocket launcher attack himself. Took 2 men down coming up stairs after taking the explosion impact. 2 men going down the stairs and 4 down with a hand grenade thrown to the bottom of the floor. About 25 from the bottom of floor level, if I'm being clear. About 25 men coming on his way to the bridge. The bridge held about 14 men from getting to. He held 14 men from getting to the kid. That's impressive. Okay, out of those 25, he held 14. He almost took off half of those guys. Old friends, betrayed by his army friend. He takes him on one by one to prevent the kid from being shot in the head. Alright, so let's talk about the end game. How Tyler Rake would defeat Jack Reacher. So let's start off with, I'm going to give this an example. Any professional athlete, any artist, anybody, if you've been out of the game for too long and you come back into a game and you're competing with someone who's been in that game and consistent is going to be much more capable and more proficient than someone who's been out of the game for some time and just came back into it. So that being said, it's like Jack Reacher is no longer a military man. He used to be. Now he's just, doing his own thing. Tyler, however, he consistently continued on doing missions and all that stuff, so he stayed familiar with his environment. So in a fight, let's say outside the country, somewhere between these two, Tyler is more likely to adapt faster than Reacher would. Even though Reacher is clever, Tyler, again, is still more fresh with the environment. He knows how to keep himself more aware compared to Jack, who might have lost a few steps during his time in retirement. Now, another thing is that between the two, yes, Reacher is strong. Yeah, he's big, massive guy. But Tyler is fast. And Tyler and speed is essential in this fight. You don't need to be the biggest guy in order to defeat the guy. You just have to be fast enough to take the guy who's big enough down. He's obviously skilled in blades. He could cut little parts of him, little parts of his limbs. He knows weak points, pinpoint weaknesses. He knows parts where there are pressure points. So Tyler might be able to cut certain parts that might wound Reacher, and those muscles might not be able to do him any favors. If he happens to take those legs down, I mean, yeah, Reacher is strong, but only his upper abdomen and none of his leg muscle to help him out. And yeah, Tyler could just easily go to school with him on that end and just take him down. Even if he is massive, there's no way that Tyler wouldn't be able to, make that to his favor. Another thing to point out is his endurance. Tyler is also damn near impressive when it comes to taking the beating of a lifetime. In the series, Reacher took some here and there, but Tyler took more. Like in the whole movie, he took the biggest beating. He took an explosion. Not only that, he got back up those mere seconds later, while guys were getting up, and he couldn't even give himself a breather. He had to get his gun going and get him to start shooting somebody and putting them all down. Tyler had to keep moving. If you see the movie, throughout the whole shot, he is just going and going and going and going while helping this kid survive. So I will say that Tyler, endurance-wise, it wouldn't be that easy. He took a small army on his own. It would take like a squad of people to help him out, or a squad of people to help assist in this type of situation. Tyler did it all by himself. Along with that, took a lot of a beating, a lot of stabs, a lot of bullets, and a lot of explosions to the face, and kept on going. So yes, endurance-wise, he will continue to bring the fight to Jack Reacher. All right, so my last point will be gun or knife. Tyler, I believe, is just much more kept aware of how to use it than Jack. Jack might still have this is familiar, like it's like riding a bike, but with Tyler, it's much more of a quicker draw. He's way more faster when it comes to using a gun. You've seen his precisions, you've seen him shoot, you've seen him use a blade and use a fight, you've seen him fall off of buildings and just keep on going. That's the thing about Tyler. Tyler is just familiar with pain. He's been in it, but Reacher hasn't really taken that much beatings compared to Tyler throughout his whole series. Throughout Reacher series, there isn't a lot of beatings Jack gets compared to Tyler. Tyler takes the biggest beating like nobody's business and just keeps on fighting. So who would last longer? If you compare between the movie and the series, you can see that Tyler obviously would last a lot longer in a fight, which means I gotta give it to Tyler to be able to either get the gun or the blade against Reacher and eventually end him on that end. But as always, No Purse fam, it's not up to me. It's up to you guys. So if you like either one of my arguments, you know what you can do? You can either hashtag Jack Reacher or you can hashtag Tyler Rake. And as always, No Purse fam, we really appreciate you guys. Catch you guys later. Peace.